Welcome back to Wizard Supercoach. First round down, and what a roller coaster that was. Quite frustrating at times. You could probably guess there from my score of 2,087, but I'm going to look on the positive side here. There's not a lot of points separating, say, 20,000 to closer to 50,000 where I am. So, it's one round down. You're not going to sink your whole season in one round. I know even I like to say it like season over and stuff for people that have a bad round or a player has a bad round, but it's just not true at all. So, the team that's out in front, what are they, about 250 points up on this, something like that, 300 points? You can easily get that back. So I'm not too worried. Like, you do your research and stuff and you back the team in. 1 week isn't going to blow it all up. Well, it could, but I don't think so. So I think last year my season rank was even worse than this in round one, and a lot of the top players on YouTube, I noticed that their ranks were quite low last year. I think they are again this year. So, the teams that seem to get up are the cookie cutter ones at this time of year. So, there's not too much to worry about. I think there's going to be overreactions and stuff. I am disgusted in myself though. I can take it when Baslenka goes crazy, and I was saying don't pick him, and I didn't pick him. But what I can't handle is that I fell for it again, and I got sucked into picks that I didn't want to make. Had I just backed in all that research that I did, all those endless hours of research, up to this point, I still would have been fine, and I would have avoided them. I mean, I made like almost entire videos saying don't pick Perryman, and why short is a bad idea, and then I went and picked them because I thought something had changed, and, you kind of don't want to get left behind. They could still come good, but who knows? So, yeah, 2,087, it's not great. 48,000 rank. Yeah, it's pretty bad, really, but I'm not going to freak out over it. We'll go through the team, and then I'll review the games because I think there's some interesting stuff in there. Now, I didn't have time to make a video in between my last one and the start of round one, so there's a couple of changes in here I think that weren't there in the last video, but yeah, as I said, I just didn't have time to make a video and I had to get the changes done, or at least I thought. So starting at the back as always, Sheasel, he was quite disappointing. I think 106, that price, and especially because I had to captain him, you'd be wanting a bit better. Now the reason why I had to captain him is because I had the VC on TDK and I would have loved to have taken that, but I didn't want to have to get rid of Boyd and have a non-playing loophole there. And I'm glad because Boyd actually somewhat repaid us. So 63 there was good. But yeah, back to Sheasel. Obviously wanted more, and especially against that weakened Dogs midfield. I thought he'd be a fair bit better than that. But, it's not the end of the world. He's still tunned and stuff. So he's picked as a keeper. I don't care if he loses a little bit of money to begin with. Clark, I thought he was good. Could have been better. Yeah, just the 107 in the end. And the reason why I say just a 107, he looked like he was headed for like a 120, 130, something like that. And yeah, he kind of trailed off as Fremantle just got absolutely steamrolled in the end. But yeah, pretty happy with the pick. It looks like they're going through him now as predicted. And Luke Ryan had a very quiet game. So yeah, good sign for Clark there. Short is one that I obviously got a bit sucked into by, the comments from Adamuze that they were going to be playing that slower game, which I just didn't even see in that game. Even when they were losing at the start, it didn't look like they were going slow or trying to slow it down. They were just full steam ahead, having a dip, and it was good to watch, but it is the opposite of what he said, so it's not good for Short. He got tagged in the third quarter and stuff, so I guess I'll cut him a bit of slack. He's still got an 83, but he didn't get the ball much outside of kick-ins, so that's a worry. I don't know. I still think he can come good, but I'm definitely kicking myself a bit because the gut feel was wrong on that one. Matt Roberts, a 95. So again, this could have been better, but Blakey just seemed like a black hole down there, taking everything. It's probably a good thing though that Roberts still managed to put together a 95 even when that was happening. So I think he'll be fine. I still think he's a good chance to be a top 8 defender. Now it starts to get bad. And Perryman absolutely gave me the shits. As I said, I was against the pick. I got sucked in more so by the pre-season games than trying to follow anyone else's opinion or anything. I mean, the data was there. I don't know. Everyone was suggesting that the data was saying that he scores hundreds and stuff when he's in the midfield over the years, but from what I found, it wasn't quite there at all. So I probably should have just backed myself in. I've said it before in these videos. I think I'm decent at doing the research, but I'm pretty bad at listening to my own advice. So if I was you, I wouldn't listen to my advice much. I'd just be watching this for, maybe get some ideas or something from the research more than anything. But yeah, Perryman, he had the run with job on Horn Francis, and obviously it doesn't translate very well to points. Hopefully it's just a bit of a one-off, but I don't know. I don't know what to do with him now because he's got the 2 scores in his system, and I don't want him to lose money. What's his break even this week? Let's have a look. 77, so he might get it. He might make a tiny bit of money. But yeah, I'll get to the trade part later, but he's definitely in my sights. Zach Reed, I expected better, but he got through without getting injured, so I guess that's all we can really ask for. It's not like the other 2 on the bench. Like, they would have given me much more. I missed out on 5 points, so, who cares? His job security is rock solid. Pryor, his job security, though, is not rock solid, I would say, after watching that game. He got beaten in so many one-on-ones. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see him keeping his spot in that defence. Trainer, I didn't even really notice much, but, a 50 out of him for that price, I'll take that. He'd probably be a slow burn, but we'll get the money that we want. So the midfield was a bit annoying. Like, they were good scores, but I couldn't get big scores. So, you're happy, I think, with a ton at the minimum, but that's all I could get out of them. So Brayshaw, I picked him because as long as Sarong was in the team, I thought Sarong would cop all the tags. Brayshaw would be free to do what he wants. Of course, round 1, Brayshaw cops the tag, not Sarong. And then Sarong gets played forward at times, which is just strange. So that all went out the window. The positive here, though, is that Brayshaw still tunned when he was getting tags. So that's all right. I don't think it's going to happen again, hopefully. And if it does, he can still ton. Same with Dawson. So there was times there where he looked like he could possibly go like 150 in this game. He was really dominant, but then Ross Lyon, who was always the party pooper, sent Windhager to him. And yeah, he had to go forward a bit. I think he scored a couple of goals in the end. I can't remember. I was pretty happy watching that game as a Crom supporter, even though St Kilda were a bit weak, missing a few players. Yeah, it's been a while since Crom have looked decent. So, but yeah, Dawson was good. So the 103, I can't complain too much. But again, like, they're just scraping tons in this team at the moment, and I need higher. I think that's the main reason here why I've fallen down in ranks, because I look at other teams and they've probably got more of those rookie scores on the field than I have, but they've just got more of those ceiling scores as well. I mean, look at my highest score here outside of TDK. What was the next best? Like 107, which was Clark, I think. 127. But everyone's got McRae, so it makes no difference. So, frustrating, but it's not the end of the world. I'm actually not too worried about this team. Oliver 93, so again, kind of frustrating, but at his price, it's not too bad. We'll take it. I'm not convinced he's going to get back to his best. Probably a 105 average or something like that. It's more realistic if we're lucky, but for that price, that's fine for now. Cheris started like a house on fire, and then obviously with Carlton going down, he did too. I've noticed that from watching him over the last couple of years. He often starts hot and then just trails off out of games. But if he's gonna score so quickly at the start, it's fine as long as he gets enough, and he did. 106 out of him at that price. Yeah, got to be happy with that. I absolutely loved what I saw out of Callaghan. Now the shitty thing is he's got the bye now, but I can live with that. So he's gone huge obviously in round 0, and then the 104, and he's not as highly owned as I expected him to be. I think some are put off by Green coming back or whatever. But if you watch the Giants play and they do that tsunami thing, he's like the perfect player for it. He's so quick. He kind of reminds me of like a faster Petrarca. Like he's just got that big frame and he can bust tackles. Just super quick. There was one ball right near the end that was really impressive, where he's just run it down and got the contested ball and just kept going. And yeah, I don't know how you beat that. So anyway, he's obviously integral to their game plan, which is what you want out of a player. Like Whitfield's the same. They base it a lot around him. So yeah, I'm really happy with Callaghan. Should make plenty of money at the very least. Yeah, probably going to be a keeper, I'd say. O'Driscoll was really good. Yeah, 91 for that price is outstanding. I don't think he's going to lose his spot to Fife. They'd be crazy to do that, even though they lost. Like, Fife is so past it, I think. And it's sad because he was great, but yeah, it happens. So, I don't know what happens when Young comes back, but I would just keep him there, I think. I mean, just keep Fife out of the team for now. Sardis was frustrating. Well, actually, not him so much, but Brad Scott drove me nuts. So I totally get the idea of what he was trying to do. He had Redmond tagging Will Day, and it makes perfect sense because obviously Day goes forward and tries to break the tag. Redmond's a defender, so he'll just go with him. Similar body type, all that. Like, good idea. But from a Supercoach perspective, it's so frustrating because Sardis was getting, I think, he wasn't getting any time on ground. I can't remember his CBAs, but like I think the CBAs were decent, but he wasn't on the ground much. So what's the point in even playing him, really? I think I'm going to hold him another week. Like, I guess I'll get to talking about the trades later, but yeah, I'll just say for now, I'm looking at holding him another week. Nevitt was really good. I enjoyed watching that game, actually. Geelong looked scary, but Nevitt was just doing everything. So, you know, you think you can keep getting 82s and stuff at that price, it's perfect. Hewitt at 52. So he passed the eye test. Looks like he really gave it a dip, but yeah, 52 is not the best. Probably going to be a bit of a slow burn. I think he'll pick up from here, though. He had like pretty interrupted last couple of weeks. So yeah, his time on ground, all that should improve, and he'll get used to it at the level, I think. Hasty got subbed, which was just ridiculous. I don't know what the hell Ross was thinking with that one, because he looked good up to that point. Maybe it was pre-planned. I don't know, but I didn't like it. It's another one of those super frustrating things. Campriali looked good on the wing. Happy to keep him. His DT was a fair bit higher than this. I can't remember. It was in the 70s, I think. But yeah, if he can start hitting targets and stuff, he'll be a really good rookie. I think he's got good job security and all that. Now this one's where it gets really interesting. So I did end up going Darcy Cameron at R1. Now the thought here, heading into round 0, I had him, and then he's gone and got the 160 something against GWS. So I thought, you know, he's got Sweet this week. I had a look. I think he got like a 110 or a 120, something like that, against Sweet last year. And I thought he should be good for it again. He's going to make me good money. Hopefully, in about 5 weeks' time, I could pretty much just go Cameron straight to Sherry, which means I essentially got Sherry for 100k cheaper. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to work out now. So Cameron just didn't look good at all against Sweet. He looked like he couldn't deal with Sweet's strength. I don't know what to make of it. It was frustrating too because McStay did all the rucking in the forward half. Cameron kind of just sits back and sets up the wall, but the problem was Port weren't getting it out of there, so the ball just wasn't coming out, and Cameron couldn't intercept or anything like that. And he wasn't winning many hit-outs, so it was just a shit show. It was really frustrating to watch. Yeah, I don't know what to do now with him. Like, do I just cut my losses and maybe go Sherry early? I don't know. I guess there's people out there with decent ranks, though, that have Flynn in R2, like, combined with DeConning, so, you know, maybe I'll back it in, see what happens. Who's he got this week? He's got Tim English, which he scored good on English last year as well. So I'll give him another week. I don't think he's going to lose money. What's his break even? 77, so same as Perryman. He should get 77 on English, I think. English is not a strong ruckman, so that's what he doesn't deal with, I think, is those tanky ruckmen. But yeah, DeConning was really good, 148. Can't complain. It's what we got him in for, those kind of scores. You know, even if Pitto eventually does come back in, I think DeConning is going to make enough money before that to make it worthwhile. And then, yeah, Boyd's 63. Marshall looks like he might be injured. He had the ice on the knee towards the end of the game there and got sat. So Boyd could be a really good money maker. I'm glad that I didn't go with Temptation just for a bump in the round 1 rank by picking a loophole and getting rid of Boyd, because that money later on is going to be really important. Because like I said, it doesn't matter 1 week in what your rank is. It could just as easily change. I could have a big week in round 2, and the people that, everything went their way in round 1, it definitely could go the other way, and then things even up. So I'm not worried. You set your team up for the marathon, not the sprint, I think. So you just got to back it in. Horn Francis 83. He was disappointing, I think. Collingwood just ran all over them though, and yeah, it was just a sign of the night. I think nothing went right for Port. They were horrible. Horn Francis, it's not like he didn't try or anything, but yeah, he couldn't really do anything. McRae though looks back like he's still a beast at that inside stuff. Obviously he's slower and all that, but yeah, inside he doesn't really need it. So yeah, he'd be in so many teams. He should be anyway. Like he should be 100% owned, really. What is he? 68%. That's heaps. Yep. So I'd say there's 68% of serious teams then. The rest would all be autofills and things like that. So my other pod was Thilthorpe. Now I was expecting slightly bigger than this, but I'll take it. 99's good. At his price, 99's great. I think I tipped him to average like 95 or something like that for the year. 90, 95 at best. So yeah, this is a good start. I thought he'd do slightly better given it was St Kilda and they've not really got too many tall defenders right now. But just the Crows had such a spread. I think it was like 12 different goal kickers or something like that. And, Fogarty with 4. So I don't know if that's a good thing going forward, because at the end of last year, the thing that made me want to pick Thilthorpe was that everything seemed to go through him, and he was number 1 for them in score involvements and stuff. But I don't know. After seeing that, even though he got the 99, I'm kind of put off. But we'll give him another week. If he goes well against Essendon, then he can stay. If not, he's probably going to have to go. Which sounds crazy, complaining about a 99. I'm not complaining about that. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, he may not be like the main man. And also Nick's sat him on the bench. I think it was in the second quarter or something. It just seemed like ages. Maybe he's been cautious with him because the game was pretty much won by then. But I don't know. Just let him feast, for Christ's sake. Get him a Coleman. Daniel, kind of disappointing. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Everyone has him, so he can do what he wants. 81 at that price, whatever. He can score that all year. He's still going to be good. Won't be a keeper at, averaging 81, but he'll make us enough money that he's worthwhile. Garcia was a flop, and it's not his fault. He's pretty good. Like, points per minute's pretty decent, actually, but another one like Sardis with really low game time. So it makes you wonder, like, what's the point in even playing them? I don't know what Ross was thinking there. He's going to have to go because I don't think that's going to change. Probably he's the one I'm most wanting to get rid of this week because I can't see it changing more than Perryman. Perryman could easily just stay in there and revert back to, getting 100 or something this week, depending on if he's got to go the run with or whatever. But yeah, Garcia, I can't see a world where he's going to be a pick. Power Pepper was disgusting. Thank God for the flex. That's all I can say. He just looked more interested in trying to take people's heads off than actually go for the ball. Port were just beaten everywhere. In his defence, ball was not coming down into the 50 much. But yeah, I expected better than a bloody 18. Like, this is He's leadership group. He should be better than that. Really poor performance. Honestly, probably the worst on ground for Port, even worse than Finlay. Some people were bagging him because he's defending, like he doesn't defend much and he's quite suspect. I get it. But yeah, Power Pepper, you're meant to be a leader. That was horrendous. So yeah, I'm going to back him in again though because I got Richmond. We picked him for a reason, he's got good job security and everything. The only way I'd get rid of him this week is if he gets dropped, but I can't see that happening. Or, maybe if he sub. When do Port play? Saturday. So I could probably work something out and if he sub, get rid of him and move something around. Stone did not pass the eye test for me. It just makes a lot of mistakes, and I think he played forward when we were hoping for that half-back role, or at least he played a split. I don't think his job security is good either, so, he's got the bye now. He may have to go. As soon as he gets dropped, he's gone. At that price, I can't really go down to anyone anyway, so, he's going to have to survive a little while, hopefully. But eye test, gut feel really bad for that one. And Davidson, this is why I didn't field him. I knew that this would happen. I just had a feeling that he was, because he lit it up in that practice game, that he just stink it up in the first game for some reason. I don't know why I felt that, but the only thing I didn't bank on was that Power Pepper was going to be 3 times worse. So, that's the way it goes, apparently. Flynn was really good, so 87. I think a lot of people have him. I don't think, though, he's as highly owned as you'd expect. 33% of teams, so... Yeah, I had cold feet on him at the end there. I was thinking of not picking him and stuff, but, at that price, as long as he can keep BJ out the team, he'll be fine. There was, as well, like, he went 87. There was a whole chunk in maybe the third or the fourth quarter where he was playing forward and they put Archer Reed in as the main ruck. So, he's done pretty well considering. And he turned up, I think, against Gawn in the practice match. So this will be a big test. He's got Big O coming up. So we'll see how he goes. But I think in flex, he's fine. I'm worried, though, for those that have him in R2 right now, because he could really stink it up against Big O. But we'll see. So yeah, that's the team. So I'm actually not as worried as you would think with how this went. Apart from Perryman, Garcia, and maybe Sardis are the ones I'm actually properly worried about. So I'm thinking that what I would like to do, if I do end up making trades, maybe go with the boost. Try and go like Garcia to Baz, because I got that one wrong. Maybe like Perryman down to Bice, because Bice looked really good. I can't go down to SDK because I've only got 22 grand, so I can't fit them both. But I need to get rid of Garcia. I think Perryman's more likely to come good than Garcia. So if I keep Perryman, let's just cross that off, or maybe I do need to go Perryman to Bice to get up to Baz here. The other one I want, obviously, is Levi. Now, this pissed me off big time because I was out at the time and we all knew Levi was going to be the sub, and then there was the late scratching of Cameron. Levi came in the team and he ended up scoring quite well. I only found that out, I reckon it was 10 seconds before the bounce, because I'd been out and, I just thought everything was pretty straightforward. So, of course, that happened. So now I've got to try and find a way to get Levi in, hopefully this week, because he's got West Coast. Could go Sardis down to Levi. It's only going to give me 6 grand though, which means if I want Garcia to Baz, then yeah, Perryman's going to have to go down to Bice. Bice worries me though. Even though he had a really good score considering his small game time being the sub, I think that can happen sometimes. Like, you come out these subs and you see them go crazy because they got more energy than everyone else. The one that pops into my mind is last year, McMuffin for GWS. I think he come out and he got like a 65 or something in one quarter. And then I thought, oh, that's really good because I owned him. And then the next week when he played a full game, he comes out and scores like a 40. So yeah, there's no guarantee that Bice is going to be really good, but I did really like the way he played. And I think Cox would be nuts to keep Patton in the team over Bice. So see what happens there. It's too early in the week to know, but that's what I'm looking at for trades anyway. So yeah, as I said before, a bit disgusted in myself, but I'm not freaking out. I'm not going to completely change everything just over 1 week because it can easily go back. Think back to last year. I had Young and Martin, I think, or just Young, and I threw him out after one game because of the horrible disposal efficiency. Same as Martin, people threw him out, same reason. And look, it come back to haunt people, so could just as easily happen with Perryman, I think. Sardis, whatever. Garcia, though, as I said, he's the only one that I can't see coming good from here because Ross just is not playing him with those high CBAs like he did in the preseason. So I don't know why he bothered when it was always just going to be Zach Jones. And I don't know why you'd bother persisting with Jones. But anyway, I'll run through the games now. Congrats if you've gotten this far. But yeah, there was some interesting stuff that come up in the games, I think, that's worth running through. So yeah, this game was crazy. Like, I did not see this coming. I thought Richmond were going to be lucky to win a game all year, just like everyone else. But Carlton really out-Carlton themselves this time. So that aside, Nank was good with 114. Now, he was one that I considered, because I had the 22k left over. I think I could have, instead of starting Cameron, I could have started Nank. But yeah, the reason I didn't is because Cameron already had that 165 or whatever it was baked into the system. So yeah, I'm hoping you can see the logic behind that one. Jack Ross, he was one that was talked up a bit in the pre-season because he was getting CBAs and stuff. Now, I don't think he actually did in this game, but he's still gone big. Just, I think because of, in the second half, just how much the ball lived in Richmond's half. I don't know what the hell was wrong with Carlton, but something badly wrong. So yeah, sure, he struggled in the second half, as I said. I can't believe he got tagged. Voss deserves to lose just for that alone. Clearly, it wasn't Jaden Short doing any of the damage. You know, you've got all these other guys just running crazy, like Jack Ross, Lawler. You know, they were doing all the damage. But nah, let's tag the guy where the ball isn't even going. Taranto did his usual. He's not a pick. You just can't rely on him. This ratio here, like, it's so standard for him. He's much better dream team of fantasy pick. McIntosh in the CBAs, I don't get it. Like, I guess it's hard to argue because they won the game, but if you've got a rebuild going on like that, wouldn't you just chuck the kids in there? It's going to help them more long term than McIntosh, really. Already talked about Traynor. Yeah, there's not much else here. Jacob Blight got injured. He looked good. Who was the other one that really stood out to me here? Was it Tom Brown? No, Miller. Miller looked really good. He was getting intercepts and stuff. Yeah, he's worth a look, I think. Actually, nah, he's nearly 400k, so yeah, I wouldn't bother. Tom Lynch, 61. He did alright, I guess, in the end. Wouldn't expect that most weeks, though, because the ball's not going to be down there much. He's probably going to get a holiday. I think they're appealing it, but good luck, because yeah, it didn't look good. DeConning was huge, pretty standard there, what you'd expect. Cripps, I don't know about him as a Supercoach pick. You know he's always going to play and stuff, but he just, I don't know, he flies under the radar for some reason. Now he's got 2 Brownlows and people still don't pick him. I guess because he's never really discounted. Like, he just plays every game and scores consistently. So, yeah, Chera already talked about him. Hewitt was pretty good. You know, he could be a pick, I guess. These prices are wrong, but yeah, it looks like it's that. This is the 3-man midfield at the moment. Cripps, Hewitt, Chera. Walsh, he looked horrendous. I don't trust him with the ball at all. But I think he was the fourth man. I haven't actually looked, but that's how it looked on the TV. Wiedering was really good in the first half. It was a complete brick wall, but, not Supercoach relevant, really. Campi already talked about. Hollands is decent, 79, but you'd probably want higher than that, given his price. Sard, 91, that's not bad. I'll move this on the Supercoach so it's easier. Yeah, see, Doherty 67 once he came on. I got no idea why he was the sub, by the way, but that was just ridiculous. But I think it was a case of he had more energy, which is why he got 67. Don't let that fool you. He's probably going to drop in price, though, to be honest. So, he could be a decent pickup later on. Just depends if you trust his body. I can't believe Silvani got 100. Like, he looked really good up forward as well at the end. But yeah, he was doing pretty well at half back. I think I talked about him in the pre-season, but yeah, he's an awkward price. So wait and see. He's one to keep an eye on, I think. There's not much else here for Carlton. Yeah, I'll move on to the next game. Hawks and Essendon was a far better game than it really should have been. You'd think looking at it on paper, the Hawks would have obliterated them, but they didn't. Essendon just kept coming at them. So, hats off to them. It was actually a pretty good watch, and there was some interesting strategic stuff going on, like I said, with what's his name? Redmond, with the tag. That tag, I think, actually takes Supercoach away, but that was some pretty good coaching right there. Why are these all set to DT scores in order? Anyway. Yeah, Amon. So some people had been hot on him all pre-season. I don't think he's going to keep this up, though. Last year it was meant to happen and it didn't happen. I don't see what really would have changed here. Sicily 109, so there wasn't that forward time that we thought that he was going to get. He did get the knock, though. Right ankle strapped in quarter one, so... Yeah, well done to anyone that held their nerve on him so far. But yeah, there's always going to be that potential for the forward time. Dylan Moore was huge, I think, particularly at the end. He's one of the main reasons why they managed to pull away there. But yeah, that's about all you're going to get out of him all year. I can't see him averaging more than like 95 or whatever. Hawks, I think they're going to be scary good. Too bad if you jumped on Will Day. I'll admit, I had him in my team after that first game, and I quickly took him out because I think we all got a bit sucked in by how good he looked. The logic set in after that. That's how I ended up with Callaghan. And yeah, Callaghan obviously has looked to be the better long-term option so far. He's also less injury prone. Yeah, not much else there for Hawthorn, I think. Meek was pretty quiet, actually, 78, so he's fairly easy to score on, I think, as a ruck. And, Draper's tunned here. It looks like Draper and Bryan are playing basically a 50-50 split, but Draper's spending a lot of time up forward. And to be honest, he didn't look too bad there. This Colwell pick, though, I was watching this game with a mate, and I was furious the whole time. He was obviously copping an ear bashing from me about it. Because there was times I had Caldwell on my team, and the only reason I took him out in the end was because he had the bye. But I was hot on him. If you remember back to my videos, I tipped him to really break out. If this is a sign for what's to come, like the really high CBAs, just a ball magnet. Like, yeah, I should have been on that. Really entrusted my gut. Again, this is why I get annoyed. It's not because of bad luck or anything like that. It's things like this where I should have just backed myself in. The other annoying one was Durham playing in the middle. So he played wing and mostly wing and a little bit of forward all pre-season. Sardis was the one in there. And then we get to this game, like the first proper game, and he's back in the middle. No wing, no forward. I don't understand it. He's probably going to tag Dawson this week, I would say. Or to be honest, maybe they go with the Redmond tag again on Dawson because Nix does put Dawson forward to try and break the tag. Again, Redmond's that bigger body type, so seems like a pretty good fit. Expect to see that again, I would say. Merritt was pretty quiet, 89. I hope he keeps this up. It'd be a good upgrade target Uh, Nick Martin, very quiet as well. Yeah, that would hurt. I know people out there were picking him, and he looked good in the preseason, kind of everywhere, but I wasn't. Dylan Shield, he's going to get dropped. He was just shocking with the ball in hand. This 65% here, it's probably all boosted up by handballs. But yeah, kicking wise, he is shocking. I had him in my my sports deck team actually as a pod because I thought he might rack it up Nick Martin style at half back. But I'm glad that I decided to get rid of him for Callaghan at the last minute because that was, yeah, looked like it was going to be a pretty nuffy selection in the end. See, again, don't get sucked in by preseason games. Disappointing with Hobbs. They put him forward. I was almost going to swap Garcia to Hobbs before the game, but I opted out of it because I don't think anything good ever comes from last minute choices like that. I'm glad I did, that I just stayed with it because, you know, Hobbs really didn't do much better, but he's at a higher price. So, yeah, Hobbs and Sardis really, I think they should be getting more time in there, especially Hobbs. I don't know what Essendon really are trying to do in the middle there. Like, obviously it's good they got Caldwell getting all the CBAs, but I feel like Merritt is now missing out, so I don't know what they're going to do. Like, I don't know, it just feels like they should be chucking the kids like Hobbs and Sardis in more, but maybe that's just the Supercoach bias in me coming out. Pryor, as I said, I think he'll get dropped. Gresham was a shock as the sub. He'd been good in the preseason stuff, and he was good once he came on. Like, he got, 12 touches and a goal in a half. So, yeah, I don't know what they were doing there. I don't expect that's going to happen again this week. Ridley got injured. That's just, death taxes. Ridley gets injured. Obviously, he can score, but, yeah, how can you trust him when he's... I think this one was a concussion, wasn't it? It's not going to show me. Oh, there we go. Unfortunately. Now, I did not see this result coming. I thought Geelong would win, but not by that much, given that, it was at home for them and they're pretty hard to beat there across the last, close to 20 years. Didn't think Baz was going to go nuts. Had a look at his heat map, and he was exclusively wing by the look of it. I think here he's listed as half forward and joining midfield. Not according to his heat map, but anyway, he was just in everything. To be honest, he probably looked a little overscored. I'm not being salty, but he did look better in the second half, and the game was pretty much cooked by then. So, especially in the last quarter. But, he's going to be good no matter what. So there's no point getting annoyed about that. DeConning, he's DeConning. He plays in the ruck, but he doesn't play like a ruck. So it's worked for them this time, but I don't know if Chris Scott's gonna persist with that one for too long until he brings in like Stanley or Blitzarves gets more time in the ruck, something like that. I mean, it might work against Reedy. And Luke Jackson, he's not the hardest ruck to beat, I think. He's just really mobile and stuff, but he's kind of like a more experienced DeConning. But yeah, what happens when they come up against like those tank rucks? I think DeConning's going to get a bath, and it's probably going to hurt Geelong a bit. Holmes looked really good. Not too much to say there. We saw it coming. Already talked about Never. Stewart with the ton, which was pretty good. He got hurt. And yeah, he recovered for the ton. I didn't think he was going to get there, and I was quite enjoying it. Not the fact that he got injured, but the fact that he wasn't going to get a ton, and then he did what he does, and yeah, he got there. So it was that midfield and defence split, which makes him a good pick. What else they got? Humphreys 97, that's good. Worth keeping an eye on. Not much else, I think, after that. Yep. Why? They're all set to the Dream Team score. It's bloody annoying. So yeah, I already talked about Clark. Sarong was pretty quiet considering he wasn't tagged. Brayshaw, yeah, tagged. Can't believe it, but yeah, he still did well. See, Jackson is. I've always had the belief that he's not a pick, even without Darcy. He's just not that dominant in the ruck. Like a 91. You know, you're expecting better than that at his price without Darcy around. Skip O'Driscoll. Amira's a pain in the ass. They keep persisting with him in the middle when there's others that could be getting time in there and helping out super coaches, I think. But yeah, they keep on going back to O'Meara, and he doesn't look very good anymore. Wagner, I saw a few people had him in their teams. You know, pretty average score. I don't think he's going to be a pick, but yeah, I appreciate the bravery for those that did jump on him. This one's going to be good. If Ryan, we don't want to keep him long, but enough to bring his price down. Murphy Reed, so 4 goals and he still only scored wouldn't think that he's going to be a pick. For is that Reed gets 4 goals in a game, but he still only gets a 50. So he just cannot be a pick without O'Meara. I don't understand it. Yes, he's got the first ruck role. Got more hitouts here, but can't score. Get that one. Pretty much no forward line, I think. Like, they're probably going to persist with McCartan up there, but he looks better down back. So, yeah, confidence against decent teams, just knowing that they're going to be struggling to scrap a goal. Yeah, Blakey was a black hole back there, as I said, just taking everything that should have been Roberts. But he's only gone the 105 himself. Poor old Heaney in the middle. Much help at the moment, I think. Scoring. I'm considering. Only 19 touches too, so he doesn't need, 40 touches or anything to ton up, which is a good sign. Grundy started really. What else is there? McInerney looks there. Not Chad Warner. So he looked good. Probably got good job security now as well. A couple of the players are out for a few, like that link-up play and stuff, and he scored the 2 goals. Maybe like 170 or something, I think, off the top of my head. But yeah, 2 goals, Porter, that's goes. I loved it. Team. At the end of the day, it's like points per dollar, and he's probably, even if he starts scoring like averages 60, he's probably going to be getting more points per dollar than Perryman. So I don't know, we'll see. Hanley 47, he's probably going to find himself out the team, I think. Yeah. Well, Wicks 26, I think he got like 80 last week. I had a look at him, but just decided no. I don't like these forward turn defender types. So, yeah, Brisbane, I think they're going to do what they did last year. They're going to start out just cruising, and then, yeah, they'll hit form in the second half of the year. Given that they're an older team, it's probably a good idea. Dunkley was absolutely massive, and he's only had 27 touches here to get to 173, which is pretty crazy. Like I can see why it happened and stuff, 10 tackles and all that, and some big plays at the end of the game when it was close. The Zorko one pissed me off because he was looking like a sub-ton, and then they've moved him forward in the last quarter and he kicked 2 goals. So really, you've been bailed there, I think, if you're a Zorko owner. But I don't know. I don't know if Sydney was really the team he was ever going to go huge on anyway. So there's 2 ways of looking at it. Looks like a good pick anyway. Again, I just can't believe that age doesn't seem to do anything to him. He just keeps going. There's probably something in it as well that I think he started his career a bit later, kind of like Tom Stewart. But yeah, he's been good. I think he's going to continue to be good. Brisbane's definitely not the most Supercoach relevant team. Levi was good for a first game. He did start out slow, but yeah, he got going. His brother, though, was quite disappointing. So for anyone that picked him, he seems like such an inconsistent scorer. We obviously saw the grand final, what he did there. But, you know, for every one of those, you seem to get one of these like 70s kind of scores. He'll put it together, no doubt. He's going to be a great player, and he'll end up being like an uber primo in Supercoach. But I think it's a little bit of a way off yet, as long as like Neil and Dunkley, and I think McCluggage is ahead of him still as well. So, you know, 4th midfielder. But yeah, not much else here for them. Oh, Lachie Neale, only the 10 touches. He got tagged good and proper by Jordan. Jordan's probably the most deadly tagger in the AFL, I'd have to say. So yeah, watch out if you've got a midfielder that's going to come up against him. Kind of scary this week. I hope that they don't tag Brayshaw, and there's a good chance they will, because Sarong obviously went untagged and it didn't hurt Geelong at all. But they won by a whole heap, and yeah, Brayshaw was the one that got tagged. So I just hope that they don't do it. It's probably going to happen though. This was the only game of the round that I didn't watch, so I can't comment too much other than the actual scores themselves. Libba's one that I would want to pick for sure, given that Bont and Treloar are out for an extended period. But he's 1 concussion off of career ending, so I just can't do it, especially at his age. But yeah, this wasn't unexpected that he'd score the 120 there. They're out of order again. Yeah, Bailey Dale come back off like no practice games. 127. You know what you're going to get from him though, especially when he plays at Docklands. So yeah, it's a pretty good score actually. I don't think many owned him. Ed Richards, good call to anyone that had the balls to go with him. The only worry though with like Richards, what happens when Bont and Treloar come back? And it's going to happen. So yeah, I don't know. That's why, again, like, apart from the concussion thing with Libba, but I don't know if you could pick any of these dogs mids with any like long-term confidence, just not knowing the mix of what happens when they're all available. Kennedy was really good, but he's just as likely to give you a 65 next week. So, you know, keep an eye on him and stuff though. Fraser 109. I had him in my team for a little period there, and I went Perryman in the end because I felt like we knew more about Perryman and his role. Like Dale scared me out of Fraser. Of course, it's backfired for the first week, but yeah, we'll see. It looks like he's played a mix of defence and mid. I just want to say as well, who the hell thought it was a good idea to schedule both the Saturday night games at exactly the same time? Like, obviously, you're going to have to watch one or the other, but like in that time slot. But at least when they're a little bit staggered, you can at least at halftime, you know, watch the other game and get to see bits of it. Couldn't see shit. I think I saw like 3 minutes of this game. So whoever that was, thanks a lot. Darcy 76, you would have been hoping for more than that. He was a breakout contender like Thilthorpe, but you know, key forwards, they're going to fluctuate a little bit. It's kind of why I'm worried about Thilthorpe with his 99. Like when an opportunity presents like an undermanned Saints, you kind of want a big score because these smaller ones are going to happen, and you need to even it out. But yeah, that's all right. Sanders let a lot of people down, 64. Yeah, I didn't trust it. I thought actually watching the scores here while I was watching the other game, I just had this feeling that Sanders was going to get subbed out, like deja vu round 1 again, because Bevo hates him, but he didn't, but he might as well have. English 58, geez. He did this last year as well in a game. This is really low. I don't know what's happened to him. I know there was people that did pick him, hoping for the bounce back because he's done like 130 before, but geez, that is horrendous. Cherry is just a machine. I don't think there's anything else here. I talked about Davidson. I knew this was going to happen. He'll probably come good this week though, hopefully. We still want him making money. But yeah, Cherry, 122. So that's not too bad. So for someone like me that's gone against him and gone, hoping to get one later, like cheaper, that's not too bad, I think. Because there was probably potential here for Cherry to go absolutely nuts on English, given English isn't really a ruck. And then obviously Gorn. I'll get to him later, but yeah, he was a bit of a letdown too. So this is perfect. The only shit thing about this plan is that Cameron didn't hold up his end of the bargain this week. But yeah, moving on. Simpkin 115, kind of could have seen this coming, but it's that uncertainty with his role, so it's highly dependent on whether he gets CBAs here. I don't know why, but Clarko just doesn't seem to play the same mix week to week. Sometimes Simpkin will get like 80% and then he'll get literally 0 the next week. So you can't really pick him for any long-term period. Sheasel I've covered. LDU quiet, 88. 2 goals as well. Yeah, he's inconsistent scoring wise. North did alright considering a lot of these players didn't play their best, to be honest, because the Dogs aren't going to be bad this year. Darling and 80, that's a shock. Constanti, so he's the ex-Sydney boy, 74. Off only 10 oh, he's got 6 tackles. That's worth keeping an eye on for sure. I don't know, small forward in a bottom team though, doesn't scream pick me, I guess. Same as Hanson, 71. He looked good in the practice matches too. Yeah, definitely guys to keep an eye on at least. This is the thing though, there's so many forward rookies at the moment that look like they could be decent. And it seems like people out there are jumping on or off of these rookies based on the first round. It could as I said, it could so easily just reverse next week and you'll see like a 30 out of these guys and the others could bloody ton up. Like, there's no real point on doing the rookie roulette thing and making changes just yet, I think. Give it another week. Wow, McKercher, that's low. And Finn O'Sullivan. So, yeah, not good if you pick them. Yeah, no, I can't say much about this game. I didn't watch it, so I saw 3 minutes. Now, as a Crom man, this was a great game to watch. Kind of felt... No, I didn't. I was going to say I felt sorry for Port, but I honestly didn't. I'm not going to pretend to be nice. It was great. But yeah, from a Supercoach perspective, it wasn't ideal, to be honest. There was a lot of unexpected stuff in here. Yeah, Membry kicking 4. Like, who would have thought that after watching last week? And again, this is exactly why you don't, off one round, go and make wholesale changes, I think. And start jumping on and off rookies. We want to see more because, Membry last week couldn't get his hands on the ball. This week he was unstoppable. And I know Port don't have a defence, but, it happens. So, McStay was really good. He's kind of the reason, I think, why Cameron also struggled. McStay was I think he played more ruck time than he normally does. He was rucking all in the forward line, all that stuff. So, Houston 132. How did I miss him? Probably amped up to play against the old team. Ned Long 113. Again, last game he barely scored. I know he had a big bump in CBAs this game. But yeah, we don't know if that's going to continue long term. He'd be on the bubble, wouldn't he? And that first score is going to be obviously the first to roll out of his score cycle. He could be one to pick if he's named this week, like on ball again. I don't know. I smell sub risk with him, but yeah, he did play well. Dacos 98. This is great. So what? He's averaging like 75 or something across the first 2 games. Yeah, that's going to be such a cheap pickup for what he can do. And he will come good, obviously. We know he will. Was he even tagged in this game? Tagged by Drew. Yeah, okay. Still going to be a good pickup later on. Josh Dacos, 88. I think he played mid, didn't he? Or was he back to halfback? Back to halfback, okay. I'm sure he got mid-time, though. 88 is pretty low. Yeah, this is why we couldn't pick him. Already covered Cameron, obviously. Jeez, that was a hard watch. Perryman, get out. Now over at Port, Rosie, well done to anyone that picked Rosie. He's got that good run. Collingwood's an easy midfield to score on, apparently, even when you're losing by 90 points. And then, yeah, he's got Richmond this week, so he should go big again. Poor old Travis Boak. He looked, like one of the only ones who was properly trying in that game. And he's like 48 years old, It's not a good sign for Port when he was one that was meant to probably not even play this year, and he's still one of your best players, honestly. Farrell 100. So I think what we're seeing here, because it was Bergman in the practice game. I think what we're going to see with Port is that Farrell, Bergman, and to a lesser extent Burgoyne, they're all going to kind of cover that Houston role. And I don't think you're going to see one of them get the really good score every week. So this week it was Farrell. It was Bergman against Richmond. Yeah, they're just going to cancel each other out. There's no one player replacing Houston. So I don't think you can pick any of them. Sweet looked good with the 90, but yeah, he's just bulky. Like, he's hard to get around in the contest for the hitouts. Finlayson, 85. It's all right for his price, but Jesus, he'll be lucky to keep his spot after that performance. He just did not want to go near any contested ball. Orrin Francis, I've covered. So Willem Drew, right? This is why I'm not wanting to keep Perryman, really. Willem Drew can score really good, but he's done the run with role here on Dacos. And whenever you do that, it's just so hard to score well. He's got, the 69, similar to what Perryman got going the other way with Horn Francis. So, yeah, it's just not an ideal role for Supercoach. And I know it's not going to be every week, but he can really tank his money making in a single week with, when that happens. Sin of 59, you wouldn't be happy with that if you chose him. I think Supercoach God had him, but he's another one that, he could be the recipient of those Houston points next week, and the other guys might be quiet. So, I don't know, wait and see. At least he's cheaper. Yeah, Berry, I'm glad I didn't pick him. Obviously, small forward's going to struggle in a game like this, but yeah, he just doesn't have a Supercoach friendly role. And then, yeah, Power Pepper, oh my God. Thank God for the flex. Now, I promise I'm not going to be harping on too much about this one. I won't be biased and stuff. I understand St Kilda were undermanned and, Crom at home, all that. But it was good to watch as a Crom supporter, and they played good. All I'll say is that in patches, Crom absolutely went to sleep. And I think if they play like that against top teams, they're going to find it hard. So just one negative there. But yeah, Rankin, 128, he was huge. Just kind of did what he wanted. There was no one that could go with him. I was shocked Saligo got more CBAs in the end than Peatling. What I think is going to happen is that when the Crows are on top, they're going to put Saligo in there as that attacker. And then when they need to, Peatling's going to get more CBAs based on it needing to be more defensive in there. So it'll be a week-to-week thing, I reckon. But yeah, Peatling looked alright, actually. it didn't translate to Supercoach scoring, but yeah, he had a good actual game. Rochelle, and yeah, he was good up forward. He gets involved in a lot of scores. He's actually passing quite a few off now, so that's good. Worrell, you'd be happy with that if you started him, because obviously it takes balls to start a player like that. At 106 first up, that's great. Yeah, he's going to be there. He's just got to stay fit. I don't know if he's going to score enough to be a keeper though, but you know, he'll make you some money and get points on field at the same time. That's important. Skip Dawson, Laird 101. I actually thought he looked alright. I've been very critical of him. Probably the second half of last year, and in the practice games he looked off it, but he looked good in defence. I know it was only St Kilda's rookie forwards, but yeah, he did look good. Not a Supercoach pick, but yeah. Already been over Thilthorpe. I don't think anyone picked Cumming in the end. He looked good, but yeah, not Supercoach wise. Miller a 58, so if you went with him, that's not ideal. St Kilda, we know, are fairly easy to score on off the half back, which is where Miller played. He just doesn't get involved much. He does good stuff every now and then, but he's never really been an accumulator. So, yeah, if you pair that with the massive injury risk, he's just not really worth looking at, I think. Draper is the sub, 27. If he keeps this up, if he stays as the sub for a couple of weeks, which could happen, I wonder if he loses money and we get him even cheaper. What would you? I don't even know. What would you have to average to lose money? Probably every chance that Curtin's the sub next week and Draper starts, but yeah, I don't know. He looked decent when he was on there, and the fans loved him, so that was good to see. McRae, already talked about him. Yeah, great Supercoach player. Wangani Miller looked like he was everywhere, but it just didn't really translate. See, look, he 51%. Now, I see everyone talking up his kicking, and obviously he can hit an absolute sizzler at times, but I don't know if it's a decision-making problem, but it's almost like he's biting off more than he can chew. He's going for super dangerous kicks that he can't make. I don't know if there's actually a problem with his kicking or whatever, but it doesn't translate. If you actually look at his stats from last year, he was the 80th ranked defender for kicking efficiency. So maybe his kicking's a little overrated. Apparently the Crom are offering him like $1 million a season. I don't think they should be, but yeah, I don't know. It's not Supercoach relevant, I guess. Sinclair didn't make a bad return, 95 off of like no preseason. So yeah, he'll be cheap eventually. Probably going to be a case of like last year where he starts slow, and then if you can get him in for the run home, I think he'll be fine. He'll probably go back to like 110 average, something like that. Marshall injured. So yeah, that right knee eye start. It's probably nothing though. Like, wasn't that the reason why they had to bring in Boyd and stuff, and why he had missed games in the preseason? It's probably just precaution more than anything. If he goes out of the side though, Boyd becomes delicious, I think. Steele was disappointing. I hope no one got sucked into that one. Hall was good, 74 in a struggling team, like up forward. That's pretty good. So definitely got an eye on him now. Boyd I've covered. Poor old Cammer, he got the old Scott Stevens swing roll. So, play forward where the ball's not getting to you, and then go do a job down back on. I saw him on Thilthorpe at one point. Like, yeah, sure, yeah, real good day out. So yeah, poor Cammer. Garcia I've covered. See, this is what I mean with Garcia. Look at Jones, 11 touches, and he played in the middle. Like, this has him mostly coming off a wing. I swear he was in the middle. I don't know if this is outdated or something, but yeah, why would you bother putting him in there when Garcia, look, 18 touches off 61% game time? Like, just get him in there. Just back him in. Guys like Jones, He reminds me of Pau Pepe. He's kind of like that enforcer. Like, he tries to be physical, but in terms of actually getting the ball and making an impact, there was none. So if you want to actually go forward, get guys like Garcia in there who can actually have an impact, I think. And Hunter Clark is sub, so I had my eye on him in the pre-season because he's pretty good at scoring. It's just he gets low tog and stuff, and he's a bit injury prone, so he's almost certainly going to drop price. But yeah, I don't know when it's going to happen. When is he going to start getting regular tog, and is he going to get a bit more durable? I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but wait and see. This was a damn good game. Demons did a lot better than I expected. I'm going to defend Gawn here a little bit. It did piss down in the second half, I think it was. Obviously not going to suit Ruckman, especially not one as big as Gawn. I know he can play alright in the wet, he has before, but it's not always going to go that way. But yeah, this was really good for someone like me, as I said, that went against Gawn and Cherry. Because this kind of game right here is what you would have been banking on, like a 180 or a 200 for against Keith. And it didn't happen. So, is Gawn losing his ceiling? Is time finally catching up with him? I'm not going to say yes based off one game, but I don't know. He didn't look right. He didn't look like himself. He looked a bit lackluster. But, it's round one. Players take time to build into the season. I'm almost certain he'll still be R1 or 2. So, but yeah, his best may be behind him, which is fine. He's like 33, so. Salem 113, too inconsistent. I wouldn't bother looking at him. Petrarca 98, so he was scary in the first half, because I faded him, and he looked like he was going to go like a 150 or something. So this was good that he ended up sub-ton. How much is Bowie? Bowie's 337 and a 96 here, and he did well in the practice games, and that was without May, I'm pretty sure. So Bowie's taken in the kick-ins. Just bear with me for a second. So I just checked on DFS, and Bowie had 4 kick-ins for that game. Now, I was under the impression watching the practice games that we shouldn't get sucked in because he was getting a lot of kick-ins, but it seems he's, with only 4 kick-ins, he's gone nearly the ton. So, he's kicked a goal. That's not going to happen often, but yeah, this is interesting. I'm going to have to do a deeper dive into him, I think, and keep an eye on him. Maybe May affects his scoring, obviously, but how long's May out for? Does anyone know? He's got that fractured larynx. How does that even happen? I've never even heard of that injury, and then you get 2 within like 2 months of each other at the same club. I don't know what they're doing down there, but something odd. Moving on from him, yeah, Oliver, a little bit disappointing. Lindsay, 86, really good, but he's got that wing roll, so I don't imagine he's going to score like that most weeks. But yeah, he'd be one to keep an eye on and take a punt. This is a good thing. He's only played the 1 game, so we get another week to look at him. This is what I mean. Don't blow up your team. Don't go scrambling for these rookies based off 1 week, and don't go throwing them out based off 1 week, unless it's like a Garcia where the roll is just mud. Who else is there? Rivers. See, Rivers 73. People taught him up. We knew as soon as Petrarca, you get Petrarca, Oliver, Viney. Rivers is going to become the 4th man. Same as Ashcroft, and look, I think they've hit the same score there. The 4th man, it's just not viable at that price, at the higher price, like 400 and whatever. It's fine if they're cheap, but these got Rivers and Ashcroft aren't. Henderson, 55, Johnson 60. Yeah, Jefferson started with a bang. He was on like 30 or something at quarter time. And then, yeah, just really fizzled out. I wouldn't be touching any of these guys like Johnson, Jefferson, Henderson. Maybe Henderson. Isn't he the guy that was like an absolute fantasy pig in the VFL? again, like, we got another week to watch him, so that's fine. Langford as a sub, that was a bit of a shock, given that he probably outperformed the rest of them in the pre-season. Whitfield 128, pretty standard day out for him. I think he started quite slow as well, so that's a pretty good result in the end. Yeah, Toby, I think he played some midfield. Come on, why do these take so long to pop up when you hover it? Half forward flank, switch to mids in the last quarter. Yeah, he was really good. He might be back. He's discounted too, because last year he was right down on his usual output. Tom Green 115, not bad for a comeback, but my problem with him, and it always has been, 35 touches for 115. Like, you can't rely on that. He's not going to average 35 touches. It's because his disposal efficiency is pretty bad, so it comes back to that point per disposal thing that I did the video about, and yeah, he's just not real good with that, so I think that explains the fluctuation in his scoring. But yeah, Callahan 104, I'm not going to talk him up anymore because I'll sound like a fanboy. Keith 84, so this was interesting because, you know, the week before, he got absolutely pantsed by Cameron, and then you'd think Gawn would be harder to score against, and he's come out and done well. Probably boosted by that late goal, but yeah, you know, still not too bad. He's only like 190, 170, something like that. So yeah, I wonder what his break even is. I'm just going to check that now. So he's 179k with a break even of minus 31. I just don't see anywhere there in the ruck line where you could get him at the moment. But yeah, if you don't have, you know, if you're playing like a, I don't know, if you need to reshuffle things, you need a cheat ruck, maybe you could look at him, but I wouldn't advise it. I don't think he's going to score anything like this. But, you know, minus 31 break even is not too bad at all. What else is here? Not much. Cogs looked alright. I think Kingsley said that Cogs is going to end up back in the midfield. I don't think it's going to hurt Callahan. I think him and Green will be the main two. Whoever's the third man, yeah, they'll be affected. Bedford maybe. Bedford couldn't tag Petrarca. Petrarca obviously is just way too big of a body. And I know they said that they were going to try Bedford in the middle, whether he was tagging or not, but he just doesn't get the ball, so, you know, I wouldn't bother, really. I think they're better off just putting, like, Cogs or someone else in there, even Josh Kelly. Yeah, Stone 42, not great. Leak, so this is good. I'm glad that I didn't go with him in the end. Oh, they did. Oh, they did. They used Grishevsky, but he didn't touch it. They got one tackle and one clanger. Right, interesting. Alright, last game. If you've made it this far, well done. But I just don't have the time at the moment to be making multiple videos and stuff, so I've got to get it all out at once, and then, yeah, I'll hopefully get a trade video out later in the week. Probably Wednesday night or Thursday arvo. Okay, this one I didn't see coming. I thought West Coast would be far more competitive. I don't even think Gold Coast were that insanely good. I think West Coast were just terrible. Now, I don't know if anyone would remember, but if you've been watching my videos, I flagged Jack Graham in the pre-season, and I don't know if this is going to be a permanent thing, but he scored well in the practice matches. He's getting the CBAs. He tackles a hell of a lot, and, you know, West Coast aren't a strong midfield, so he gets a lot of tackles. This could be a pick in the forward line. He's awkwardly priced. I think he's like 380 or something like that, but he could, I'm just going to say it again, he could be top 6 mids. That sounds absolutely insane, but if he can keep getting the CBAs, then why not? It's all about role. He's going to get plenty of tackles, given, you know, how weak they are, and I don't think there's anyone to push him out, really, so it could be interesting. I'd want to see another week, but yeah, maybe if, like, Thilthorpe's a failure, then Graham could be the one. Sounds crazy, but, you know, after this round, I'm even more so intent on just following my own research now and not listening to any outside noise. And yeah, I don't care what other teams are doing at all. I'm not going to play that game. Baker 102, so that will happen. He could likely score you a 50 next week. That's just how he's always been. So if he scores another ton next week, then I'll start to believe it. But yeah, we'll see. Flynn, good, already covered. McGovern, quiet. Just the way the ball was coming in, there was no way for him to intercept. It was pretty abysmal by the West Coast players up the field. You need pressure on the ball carrier for him to do his thing. West Coast, they're not terribly relevant. What is there? Hewitt, good, passed the eye test, that's it. Harley Reid was shocking. I reckon by the look of it, he's been drinking his own bathwater and like following his own media hype a bit. Just based on the fact that when he got the ball and he'd get tackled, it was like he had this look on his face like, how could this be happening? Like, don't you know who I am kind of thing. I don't know. I just think he needs to come back down to earth a bit. That's just what I saw. I could be wrong, but that's what his body language was suggesting. I don't really see anything else here for Supercoach. Maybe BJ comes into the team now, which could hurt Flynn to replace Waterman. Maybe they play him up forward a bit. I don't know. I don't know what happens there with Archer, Reid and BJ. We'll see. Witts went huge. 68 hitouts. Like, that's insane. But for only 144 Supercoach, so yeah, Witts he's not a pick anymore. He's had his day. But yeah, he used to be good for that one season where we needed him. Rao did his annual big score in round one. We know that's going to trail off. I wouldn't be bothered. Look, no marks. He still has no outside game, and he was playing against Turkey, so who cares? Same as Anderson. The only thing I will say, Anderson could not score away from home last year. They've both managed to do it here, but again, they're playing Turkey, so really, who cares? People are going to get sucked in by this. I'm sure people are going to jump on one of these three, and we know how it's going to end up. I think there's enough data to suggest what's going to happen. Bailey Humphrey 104, that's a good one to keep an eye on, but he could be getting a holiday. It didn't look good at all. I think he's going to go, but probably only 1 week. This one here, right? So Ethan Reid. Now, this is not me being salty, but Ethan Reid's not Supercoach relevant whatsoever. I don't know from looking at this how he tunned. He got 10 touches at 50% efficiency, 2 tackles, 3 marks, and he scored 2 goals too in an absolute blowout. So how does that translate to 100 when, if you go back, compare that to what Thilthorpe did, 3 goals straight, 13 touches at 69%. They've had he had 4 more hitouts than Thilthorpe. But look at the marks of the tackles. Look at all of this. Oh, Thilthorpe had 6 clangers though. That doesn't explain though how Ethan Reid, see 2 clangers as well. How does that there translate to a ton? I do not understand it. I know he got the first goal of the game, so that's pretty good. But I reckon the other one was later on when the game was already cooked. So I can't see how that was a ton. Not that it matters because no one has him, but yeah, it's a bit annoying if you're watching and you've got other players that have better stat line. Tell me in the comments what you think of that one. I'm sure there's a logical reason, but it doesn't make sense to me at all. Rioli 91. See, this is what you can expect from him. I think he's just going to be like that 90 to 95 player. It's good enough, but he's not worth picking at that price. Yeah, Gold Coast aren't Supercoach relevant anyway. There's nothing else here really. So yeah, that's a long video, hour and 20. But that's round 1 in a nutshell. All I can say is, try like I am to hold your nerve. Like, I know that score that I got here, it's not super ideal or anything, but it is. It's 1 week. Like, you just got to back it in. You don't do all the research and planning and stuff, and then, oh no, that player had one bad game, so I'm going to jump off. You know, even if it's role affected, I'm not entirely off Perryman even. And, you know, he had a shit role for Supercoach this week. Sardis, same thing. Like, I'm not fully off him, even though he had bad game time. The only one is Garcia, because he had shit role, shit game time. So, yeah, I don't know. Just hold your nerve. Like, that's all I can say. It's 1 week. We can easily catch up the following week. It happens every year. So, yeah, thanks for watching if you got this far. As I said, I'll hopefully make another video about the trades if I do any later in the week. I'm sure I will. There's, you know, I want to get Ashcroft in, obviously, and find a way to do it. But yeah, I think, honestly, I think you can wait another week on Baz, see what happens. He's not going to be allowed to run free every week. There's a chance that Windhager goes to him this week. So yeah, let's just wait and see, I think. But yeah, again, thanks for watching, and hold your nerve. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. I've talked enough.